You are listening to the podcast Weather with Enthusiasm. Totally remarkable stuff happening here in the Midwest. It sounds like we're living in the 1930s or the 1800s with these forecasts. Computer models are not able to forecast things just 3 days in advance, and for the Chicago National Weather Service, just 12 hours in advance. There's just no model that's able to handle a heat dome with a stationary heat dome, and your particular city that you're forecasting for happens to be along the edge where all the thunderstorms develop, the ring of fire. This means that it is the thunderstorms that are going to determine where the front is. As thunderstorms develop, the front will move further south, bringing cooler air in. If thunderstorms do not develop, the extreme heat and humidity will remain over the city. This is something that the Chicago National Weather Service is dealing with. The St. Louis National Weather Service will be dealing with that for Friday. Chicago National Weather Service is dealing with that for tomorrow, for Thursday. There's a good possibility that it will be hot and humid either way for the Chicago area and probably for St. Louis. But these are ideal situations where there could be a bust in the forecast and even a bust in the heat advisory, which has been issued for St. Louis on Friday. The St. Louis area for tomorrow has another totally remarkable scenario, which has been set up by the GFS computer model, putting the St. Louis area in a dust bowl year type scenario with temperatures going into the 100-teens with a dry line moving through the area due to intense mixing of the atmosphere during the afternoon. If there is mixing and the dew points drop, it makes a lot of sense for temperatures to go into the 100-teens, although this is not climatologically supported at all for a city like St. Louis. It has happened before, and there's a lot of things that are going on right now that are not climatologically part of our climate, such as the smoke all over the place, which I don't think has happened before. Here in a lot of things are happening which haven't happened before, so you can't rule out that possibility, especially since there are two reliable computer models that are forecasting this. Nonetheless, we also have two computer models that are forecasting a more climatologically friendly approach for St. Louis with highs in the 90s and high humidity. The National Weather Service has gone ahead and they're leaning more towards that approach, but have taken the other approach into consideration. As you can see, their forecast calls for highs around 100 degrees, which is a little bit hot for St. Louis, but it does fit into the climatological records for St. Louis. Does get into the low hundreds pretty much every single year. It's when you get into the mid hundreds and higher, that's when it really no longer fits the climate over there, and especially the 100-teens. But it is the GFS model and the high-resolution rapid refresh model that is forecasting this extreme heat. So the dry line, if there is a dry line, that's a major variable for the accuracy of Thursday's forecasts for St. Louis. We also have possible thunderstorm development if there is a dry line. Even that scenario has a possible thunderstorm development that could happen right before the dry line hits the area. That could limit the heating as well. So the dry line if that scenario plays out, temperatures could very well go into the 100-teens, but there is a possibility where that scenario might also limit the heating to some extent due to a thunderstorm complex, and temperatures would not be able to make it into the 100-teens. I don't know how hot it would get. I don't know if temperatures would remain in the 90s in such a case, or we would still be able to top 100 degrees. The other models forecasting highs in the 90s. For Friday, the other variable is the ring of fire, the continuous thunderstorm development that happens around the ridge. The reason why that's not a variable for tomorrow is because the heat ridge will be expanding tomorrow. So it's going to outdo the thunderstorms. Thunderstorms will try to push the heat south, but the ridge is not moving south. It's actually expanding. On Friday, the ridge becomes stationary, and therefore the thunderstorms take over. We do not have any computer model that's able to forecast thunderstorms more than 12 hours out, perhaps 24 hours. The Chicago National Weather Service emphasizes 12 hours because it's not a large-scale thing. We do not have computer models that could do it, and therefore there could be busts in these forecasts for both days. Either way, the St. Louis area will be hot for tomorrow. Either way it will be hot. The question is how hot. And on Friday, you can't say such words that either way it will be hot. There is a chance for a bust, but I've noticed these busts tend to be more common in Chicago next to Lake Michigan. I wish everyone a great day and stay safe. You've been listening to the podcast Weather with Enthusiasm.